Hi everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech, and today I am doing a little bit of testing with the DJI Osmo Pocket with the audio adapter. So the little 3.5 millimeter audio adapter on the DJI Osmo Pocket, and I'm doing another video with this GoPro mount. So it's a GoPro suction mount that I have on my windshield, and I had a couple people asking for some more video with that, just to see, just some more video with that, I guess. And then so this time I'm also doing it in 4K 24 frames a second, just to see what that looks like. Also coupled with the DJI Osmo Pocket audio adapter. So I'm basically killing a bunch of birds with one stone here. Because I want to test out this the audio recording a bit more. Because I did have some success with this microphone that I'm using right now, and the microphone I'm using right now is the Comica CVM-SIG.LAV microphone from Amazon. And if you saw my other video on the Comica microphone, the Great Success by Borat video, basically I went through a bunch of different microphones, lavaliers, and like the Rode VideoMic Pro and the Rode VideoMic Pro. So things I had on hand that I've used before for other videos. And the only thing I really had any success with was this lavalier, and it's because it has a inline gain adjustment. So it's a powered microphone. It's powered by kind of one of those coin cell batteries, like the size of a nickel or whatever. So it actually had decent levels in Premiere when I pulled the footage in, versus some of the other things that were way too soft. The volume was way too low. So this one seemed to work really well, at least inside. So I was in my office. So so I'm in the car now. Obviously, there's a little bit more noise. So I kind of want to just see how this sounds in the car. So that's what I'm doing. So basically, I'm just on my way to work. I have to drop something off at the post office on my way to work. But yeah, so most of this I may not talk, because it's going to take me about 20 minutes to get to work. So, but yeah, so let me know kind of in the comments what you guys think about this. Yeah. So anyways, like I said, the setting on the Osmo Pocket, it's on high. It's the high volume setting. And then this lavalier from Comica has a gain adjustment that I have cranked up all the way to as high as it goes. And that's how it's set. So as I mentioned again, this is 4K 24 frames a second. I set this to the Pro mode, and I'm using the the D Sin-like color profile. So that I could also do some tests around, color grading after the fact, and just do a little bit more look at that. The Osmo Pocket is in slow follow mode, and I did turn on the tilt lock. But I'm not sure if it's actually now. I'm not sure if I did that right, because it does look like it kind of moves up and down as you're as you're driving a little bit with the motion of the car. So I guess I'll check that in a minute. My windshield's a little dirty. So big news today. Today is March 25th, and the Apple, Tim Apple over at Apple, it's having an event. It's called It's Showtime or something like that. They're calling it. So it's probably has to do a lot with stuff related to the Apple TV and their, kind of the rumors of their streaming platform. And the things that have been rumors for years, I guess, around what is Apple going to do in the content creation space and the TV streaming, Netflix style, Amazon Prime style competition. So I don't know. They've also released a few different iPad, kind of upgraded, refreshed versions of different devices over the last week. So the AirPods 2 are coming out shortly, which look just like the AirPod 1, which I'm not really sure, of what the difference is there. I did hear that they supposedly have a little bit better battery life and a little bit better sound and stuff like that. But then again, I'm like, I don't know. The ones I have actually sound pretty good and get decent battery life. Although I would say that the thing I don't like about them most is that they get really good battery life when you're just listening to music. But for work sometimes, not sometimes, all the time I guess, at work for me, I'm on conference calls. I don't know, at least 3 or 4 hours out of the day I'm on different calls and stuff. And they don't work that well if you're just using them for calls. In terms of battery life, they just don't last that long. I mean, it obviously has to do with the fact that they're transmitting. They have to have the microphones are on. They're transmitting your voice, kind of switching back and forth between, broadcasting your voice and the other side of the conversation. So no surprise that it has worse battery life. So I may actually get a pair of those. I'll have to take a look when they come out. But and that kind of brings up another question I had just around headphones in general. I never really thought of it before, because all the headphones I've purchased, I use them, had the headphones, and then I don't know, they either broke or whatever. Maybe some of the over-the-ear headphones in the past I've sold on eBay or something, just tell everybody hey, I clean these really good, it's the ear pads as good as I could with some alcohol wipes, and try to sanitize them. If you want them, buy them. If you don't, right? But it's kind of weird with AirPods and Apple earbuds. Because the earbuds are so cheap, no one would probably really think about it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to sell my used pair of earbuds. I don't know if anyone has I'm sure people do it, but I'm not sure I would buy somebody's used wired earbuds from Apple, earpods. I'd be like, I'll just spend the $30 and get some new ones. But that being said, AirPods, $160, $150. Somebody might want to buy those, but then it's kind of gross if I've had them in my ears for a year. But I guess you could clean those too. So I guess we'll have to see. If I get, a new pair, do I sell the old pair on eBay? And I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I guess I can give them to my kids, but they'll lose them in about 2 minutes, so it's probably not the best thing to do. So as you can see, my daily commute is not too exciting. I don't have a long distance to go to get to the office. It's about 8 miles, 7.5, 8 miles. And this is not normally the way I'd go, because usually I'm not stopping at the post office on the way. So anyways, back to the Apple event. So that should be interesting to see. I know that they don't do the iPhones until usually later in the year, kind of around their developer conference in June or whatever, whenever they do that. So I'm not, anticipating hearing any news about that. But, it would be interesting to see kind of what they do this year with their iPhone, kind of as compared to what Samsung has been doing with the Galaxy S10 and the S10 Plus. Apple's a little bit behind the curveball there. Just in terms of a lot of things, actually. I mean, I like Apple. Don't get me wrong. I have an iPhone XS Max. I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 9. As a tech reviewer and just a person in technology, I mean, I'm a software developer by trade. I started off that way. I am in software. I'm in, mostly in architecture, enterprise architecture role now. But I mean, I like technology and I like gadgets and I like all that stuff. Obviously, I have this channel, so I'm always interested to see what both, like the biggest players in the industry. I'm always interested to see what they're doing, right? And how they're innovating, how they're kind of moving things ahead, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the handsets and smartphones and all of that. It's just kind of annoying sometimes that there's so much more stuff on the Samsung side. Not even Samsung, just Android side, right? Between all the stuff that Google's doing with the Pixels, everything that Samsung is doing with their Galaxy line of stuff. I mean, the Samsung VR, right? The Gear VR stuff. I use it not all the time, but I use it occasionally. I mean, and it's cool. And Apple doesn't have anything like that. It's so dumb. It's like, the Oculus, Samsung VR, or Gear VR. Like, there's all these cool things out there. And Apple's just, plugging away, making their same versions of the same old things every year. And it's just, they seem to have lost that whole, let's push the boundaries of innovation and, come to the table with, like, ideas no one else had thought of, right? Now it's kind of more like, okay, well, everybody else we'll let everybody else innovate, figure out what people kind of want, and then maybe we'll come out with something in 2 years, and sell it, and then hope to make billions of dollars. Well, I mean, I guess that's not a bad approach. Let everybody else figure out and waste their money on the research and development and figuring out what consumers want. If not a lot of people care about Gear VR, well, maybe that's not the best investment that Apple can make, I guess, in their research and development and all that, if it's not going to take off at this point in time. But then again, like, I think there's enough people that think VR is cool that if Apple made a device or made something for their phones that was better than the Gear VR, had like better than these other things, it would take off, right? I mean, a lot of stuff, if they have a good product, it will sell. I mean, obviously, they're selling millions and millions and millions and millions of phones and all kinds of crap. So, it's kind of not like, what is going on here? It's not like they won't sell stuff, right? I mean, maybe they've had some dumb products in the past. But I mean, everything, pretty much, there's enough people that just will buy anything that Apple makes that they'll make a decent amount of money. Anyways, yeah, so I'm interested more, this year to see what they're going to do with the iPhones, as is everyone else. Same thing on the computer side. Like, are they going to really update anything? I think I've seen some spec bumps on the iMac. What are they going to do with the iMac going forward? What are they going to do with this modular Mac Pro kind of thing that's been rumored for a while? All right, I'm going to stop this for a second while I go in, and then I'll come back and start some more. Okay, yeah, so I did have it in tilt-locked mode earlier when I started, so now I just put it into the follow mode, the slow follow mode. Just see if there's any difference there. But anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, so Mac Pro, right? So I want to say, I've owned 2 Mac Pros in my life. The older tower style ones that they used to make in the 2000 whatever. 2000, I think the first one I had was a 2007, I want to say. 2007 that I bought new from Apple. And I want to say I spent maybe, gosh, I don't know, $2,500, $3,000. I can't even remember. It's been a long time. But I had that, and they had the Xeon, the dual Xeon processors. Can't remember how much memory it had. But I used that for many years, as my main editing computer I had a photography business at the time, a wedding photography business, and I used that. I used that computer. It was really good. It was a great computer. So, and I used that probably, I want to say, almost 7 years. 7 years or so. I had that computer and had no problems. I upgraded the video card at one point, but it was a great computer. I had a lot of expandability inside, additional drives, all that sort of thing. And then at one point, I think I can't remember what exactly happened. If I couldn't upgrade to the next, higher level of Mac OS or whatever because of just the age of the components in the computer. So I sold it on Craigslist for I don't even know, $300-$400 still. It was pretty good, selling it at that time. Somebody wanted to buy it for I don't know, just a server in their house or something. So I sold that, and then I bought another one, a newer one. It was instead of a 2007, I think it was a 11 or 12 Mac Pro. Better processors, more memory, all that stuff. And then I kind of rebuilt that, put in an SSD, additional drives and all that. And then I was running that for a few more years also. But then I ended up having, I want to say that one I had for maybe 3 years, so maybe 2014 to about 26, a little bit before 2014 to about 2016, just almost maybe 2.5 to 3 years almost. And I had a problem with the logic board. And at that point I was like, it's going to be expensive to try to fix or whatever. And so I just, at that point, I had read a lot about like Hackintoshes and all that. So I decided to use, and it's something that, I forgot the website, Tony X386 Max, whatever that website is, the forum that everyone with the Hackintoshes kind of go to talk about, what hardware configurations work and all of that. And I basically built, for about $2,100, I built a Hack Pro, I guess, that probably had the same specs and performance as what I could have bought that from Apple. That would have been $5,000 almost, like $4,800. So, basically built a Hack Pro for half the price, a little bit less than half the price of the Apple thing. And I have had some issues, right? It's not a trouble, pain-free sort of experience when you're kind of doing that. But for the most part, it wasn't bad. I mean, actually, if you use the compatible hardware, you can get past all the just the initial setup stuff and getting it to boot up right, after you've got everything on there. And you can always kind of screw around if you have problems with the sound or, things like that. But yeah, I mean, that was a pain. And then I guess the other pain with like my setup now is I'm kind of stuck back on, I don't remember what version of Sierra is it. I think I have High Sierra now, but it was a pain to do the upgrade between the two because it ended up breaking a bunch of stuff. And then I spent 2 days trying to screw around with it to get it to work again. And that's not like a fun experience, right? Obviously, if you have an Apple computer, and I have a MacBook Pro, a 2015 or 2016 MacBook Pro, and obviously, you update that and it just works. Not the same with the Hack Pro, because you know why. I mean, obviously. So that's about it. Anyways, so that was my commute. So I'm at work now, and I'm going to stop this recording because, well, anyways, so this is, hopefully this audio actually turned out and it worked, because if it didn't, that would have been a waste of effort here. All right, so I'll throw this video together just to show, like I said, recording in the car, 4K 24. So that's all I have for today. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this was interesting. Well, I'll have to see what the footage looks like. I'll have to see see how the sound turned out on this Osmo adapter. If you guys like the content here, please subscribe. Please like the videos. Please comment, ask questions, give me suggestions for other content you want to see. I don't have a huge plan of attack with a lot of the stuff, so a lot of what I'm doing is kind of based on comments I see in the existing videos. Like I said, some people were asking about different frame rates in the car, kind of using that same GoPro adapter setup that I had with a 3D printed mount. So here it is, right? So so I am kind of listening to input, taking that into consideration when I'm making content. So let me know. Again, I'm trying to grow the channel this year. I'd love to kind of engage with you guys and gals and whoever else is out there that kind of cares about the content and wants to see more. This is Andrew from TS for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.